Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dragagon, and this is Gregtech New Horizons. So, I have in front of me my rebuilt LV machine wall. I've been pulling machines up from the downstairs area of that building over there and pulling them up over here. I've put together a little bit of stuff here. I may maneuver this guy around, but essentially I'm trying to set up my base so that I can, down here in this downstairs area, I haven't hollowed it out yet, but I am looking to set up my Project Red inventory system. In addition to having all of the machines up here, that will be quite handy for beginning a centralized location for crafting. You can see I've built it up just a little bit. There's the smeltery that I had. I even brought up my checklist. And then if we look over here in this area, you can see my bronze boiler, my paralyzed oven. I've got a steel tank. I am toying around with trying to get a second floor to the forestry multi-farm here. Trying to see if these plants will be harvested once they grow big enough up here. I saw someone in, where was it? It was in the Discord channel talking about being able to do multiple stories to it as long as you have a dirt pillar connecting them. So the idea was to try and get this dirt pillar and the water, and from what I understand I have to manually place these initial crops, so that's what I did. I came up there and I would use my bronze mattock and made it all farmland and then stuck all the seeds in. And so I'm waiting for a couple of these guys that I've seen, like this guy, it's at 43%, waiting to see if he grows, and if he does harvest and replant, that would be phenomenal if that were the case. So the pyrolyzed oven is now hooked up and running. The bronze boiler is hooked up and running, and I am generating a surplus of blocks of charcoal. So it's fantastic. This guy produces enough steam to run this guy basically constantly as it's filling this up with the charcoal blocks, providing me with MV power. If I drop down below, there's my two forestry farms, which I was accessing by that tunnel. I dug out this area, put down a super tank, collecting up right now just the creosote oil. But you can see the pipe runs along, runs into this basic compressor, shoves it into a better barrel that then has an importing conveyor belt that sends it up and into my bronze boiler. So this guy will run every 9 times. He'll stick one in, and as you can see, originally when I started this earlier this evening, I was at 92 charcoal, compressed charcoal, so getting in those extra compressed charcoal helps out quite a bit. Here's my setup. I am actually lucky I didn't blow myself up. One lesson learned is these low voltage transformers, when you initially place them, they are expecting the MV in and to spread it into LV, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong, so I ended up sticking a battery buffer up into the pyrolyzed oven, and thank goodness the face was pointing into the pyrolyzed oven, because otherwise it could have sent power down here and caused these guys to just blow up on me, and I would not have been very thrilled to one, have been killed, and two, to lose all this steel and these steam turbines. But I have 4 of them, 2 sets of 4 of them surrounding these couple here, and then I have these other 2. This guy I don't have hooked up. I have this guy hooked up so that he's feeding power to the compressor, just to get this guy running continuously without having to worry about anything else. I've been using the advanced extruder because right now over where my main stuff is, I don't have an LV line. I'm using an MV line. I'm using an MV generator one of the combustion generators, but I immediately stick it into one of the transformers and convert it to LV for that entire wall. I've also been working on this. This is now slowly getting a surplus of peanuts there that keeps this guy stocked, along with some fertilizer from this fertilizer thing. It doesn't go through it very fast simply because of how long it takes the peanuts to actually grow. This guy over here, on the other hand, just chews through my fertilizer. But now that it's stopped up with so many wood logs, it lasts a little while longer now. What's it got in here? Nothing. There it goes with another stack of wood. Fills it up completely. So now it's just kind of stuck. Well, it'll try and fill up what it can. Yeah, letting that thing go so it feeds enough wood into that. One thing I did do while I was working with this stuff was I made 64 fish oil cells. And there is the fish oil complete. So there we go, 64 fish oil. Knocks out the fish oil quest. I'm waiting on those peanuts to be able to do the seed oil, and then also with getting the seed oil, I hope to progress into some more of the bee stuff with the apiary, because that does require the seed oil in the carpenter and converting those bee houses into apiaries, which will be handy. I do look forward to doing some work with the bees. Probably the biggest one that I'm trying to get to is to get the gallium combs, which come from the zinc bees, which comes from quite a bit of bee breeding from diligent drones and stuff like that, coming all the way up to try and get to this zinc bee in order to get those gallium combs. Hopefully that'll work out for me. Right now that's probably the easiest way for me to get gallium, short of sticking my miner in the nether and waiting for the small zinc ores to be dug up from that. I do still need to do that because I am missing one of the quests over here. I think it's in this tab. Basically, I'm missing the quest that I need to get this one, the quartz barite Certus quartz quest done. So I do have a location for those. I just haven't run over there and tried setting it up yet. So yeah, I'm making quite a bit of progress as I go through. The next thing I'm looking at making is an ethylene setup so that I can make polyethylene a little bit more easily. So I guess I'll bring you guys back in once I'm a little further along. Hopefully get maybe a little bit of the Project Red stuff dug out down below, some torches laid out, and start getting some initial crafting setups up and running. So we'll see you after a while. And we're back. And like I assumed, this project took all day. I have in front of me an electrolyzer, 2 super tanks, one for hydrogen, one for oxygen, and then I have over here my diesel setup. And you can see I have a number of these routed interface pipes all over the place, and actually I probably need to get rid of that so that it doesn't cause any issues with looping around and stuff like that. But I was going to walk through the process of setting up my this setup here. Beginning over here with the electrolyzer, I already put in a stock keeper to stock 2 empty cells and an item extractor for the oxygen cell. And I've got this guy configured so that he will pump out oxygen cells and pump out hydrogen directly, and then the hydrogen goes straight into this back area here. On this guy's chip, at the time I only had the item crafting chip left over, which just says you can take an empty cell, stick it in, you'll get a hydrogen cell back out. There's some other stuff that the quest actually goes through in Project Red that tells you that you want to have, let's see here, you want an item responder for the oxygen cells, an extractor for empty cells. You want the same thing, well, I guess you don't really need the same stuff on the hydrogen cell, but it is nice to have in case you start having other hydrogen producers. So what I've gone ahead and done is I have, let's just grab one of these guys here, and we can say whitelist, and you're going to, sorry, this is the wrong one. I don't want the item extractor. I want the item responder. The item responder with whitelist will respond to hydrogen cells. So we can stick that in there. Oh, and I guess I do want an item extractor. The item extractor is going to match empty cells so that when a cell goes in, it will stick the hydrogen in and then extract out an empty cell. I'm going to do the same thing here with the oxygen, but I don't actually have an oxygen cell up here. I actually forgot to grab an oxygen cell. Let's see if I have some handy. That's fluorine. Did I stick them in here maybe? No, just empty cells. And if not, I'm going to have to go inside and see if my... That's fluorine. Why do I... Oh, that's electrolyzed water, not fluorine. And see if I have any oxygen left in my other electrolyzer, or rather my centrifuge. And it doesn't because I have too much gas. So let's just take that real quick, slap that down, slap that down. I have way more nitrogen gas than I ever know what to do with right now. So I'll just let that run for a hot minute while I finish out the rest of this build. I had one of those teleporting creepers, the ender creepers, warp to me and blast me out here, fortunately, and not like around my main base over here, because that would have been bad otherwise. Losing my machines and whatnot. I would have been very upset. Alright, so similar thing with the oxygen. We're going to have it respond to, oops, I can't have it respond to oxygen because I don't have those yet, but I can put in the item extractor and have it extract empty cells from here. There we go. And then I'm also going to have a crafting chip set up for that so that it can craft oxygen cells, because one of the next projects that I have on my list, I already have the cards made for it, but I plan on making a polyethylene line for all of this. All right, so over here I have a basic distillery, and I wanted it to have a stock keeper to keep the oil cells in it, so that I can constantly be producing oil. But unfortunately that's not going to work. I can't just stock it with oil cells. I actually need to put right here in front of it like a tank or something, and then have a pump on this guy so that it can just pump it in and then set that guy on top of it. So I'll take care of that later. This guy is going to stock oil sands so that it can centrifuge oil sands and then pass it along on its merry little way around. This guy right here, I'm going to have the one stock keeper, and I want him to stock 4 hydrogen cells at all times, so we'll stick that in. I want him to have an extractor in him, and the extractor is going to extract out empty cells and also empty cells and the hydrogen sulfide cells. So there we go. You can now see them. They're all it just shot off the hydrogen sulfide and empty cells that were in here, so that we can constantly keep that up to date. I'm going to do the exact same thing there for this guy, again with the empty cell and with the hydrogen sulfide cell. We'll slap that in. Those guys will leave. I also want the A stock keeper to keep 4 hydrogen cells in its place. There we go. So now he should, what should happen is he should send a request over here to pick up 2 and bring them right on over. Fantastic. So that part is definitely working. Let's see here. I need another item extractor for empty cells, and I need him to go there. And then this guy, I want to have a stock keeper, and I would like it to stock, let's see here, those things come in sets of 12, so I'd kind of like it to stock 12 at a time. So there we go. So now it should stock 12 of these guys at a time. Let's see. Can I throw those in there? No, it doesn't want to just put them in. Okay. Well, that's fine. He's got 7, and I can put the rest in here in just a little bit, just so that he keeps himself well stocked with empty cans to pass into here. This guy will pull them out and send them back along. And then, let's see, the only other thing I need is I want a crafting chip here that says this one. Put in an empty cell and get out a diesel cell. There we go. So now we've got a way to craft all the diesel that I've got. And I want to use that so that as I start putting more combustion generators around, I can start adding stock keepers to the combustion generators in order to keep them fueled, and then hopefully that will also keep the rest of this system flowing smoothly, as long as, basically I'm trying to set it to where this thing will always be ready to produce more diesel. And it will just constantly keep the diesel filled while the rest of the system continues to use it. So that should have given me enough time. And of course it's dark. You can see I have lit up basically my entire base so that when it is dark I don't really run into an issue with monsters. Unfortunately there are a couple of caves right underneath this main portion that I haven't quite cleared out and lit up yet. So I get monsters that pop in and I can't sleep there because they're there. Alright, let's double check this guy. Excellent. He's got 2 cans of air, or 2 cans of oxygen rather. So what I can do now is I can set up one of these crafting chips to be an empty can and gets out an oxygen, and then I need the item responder to respond to oxygen cells. There we go. So he responds to oxygen cells. He also knows how to craft oxygen cells. So there we go. 3 of those, 3 of those, just these 2 here. And then I will work on these guys with the stock keeper for oil, which will go here into probably in either an MV tank, so that can be a super tank later. Yeah, that was everything. It took me, I kid you not, it took me all day to collect up the gallium I needed in order to craft the diodes, in order to craft all these chips that needed to go into this system. It was unbelievable the amount of effort it took to get all of that done. Let's see here. He doesn't have any in him right now. This guy will occasionally produce sand, so I'll probably put an extractor for sand here, in addition to keeping it pumped full of the oil sand. which I need to add to the system in some way, shape, or form. I'll probably put another box, because I've got a box of like 800 of it, maybe it's only 600, up in the house that I can stick here so that it can find it and keep it well stocked. Yeah, otherwise I think that will do it for today's video. Oh, I did want to show you guys something else. I was able to get a multi-level peanut farm going. The first YouTuber I was watching had this thing set up as, what was it set up as? A managed arboretum, I think is what it calls it. Anyway, the managed arboretum breaks the things, and then you have to have this rigmarole in order to set up to make the seeds. And it turns out that we can just use a manual orchard farm, and it will never break the stuff, but it will constantly fill it with seeds. So I can take the rest of this bit down here, and then I have my seeds already right here, so I can maybe build in a small area here to convert stuff to seed oil. Right now I've just got it running off of the battery power, and here's the rest of my underground setup. I pulled off one of the generators in order to run this compressor. Compressor runs that, and like I was saying, this whole system right here with just this little bit of a setup is running power positive, meaning it makes more compressed charcoal than it uses. So I can start to use that to maybe feed these couple of farms over here and start playing around with exactly how much it can use. To give you guys an overview of this, yep, there's my wonderful, what is it, Thumbcraft. I did a little bit too much, and occasionally my veins catch fire, which poisons me, or I have bats fly out, or I hear a creeper sound. It's lots of fun, let me tell you. So back here, I have a comparator, which reads off of the valve that's on the other side of this rock and passes along the redstone signal. And so right now, with it being, oh, it's all full. Wow, okay, I didn't realize that that pipe would be full. So because it's full, it's giving off 16. Now, it's nice that these guys drop by 1. So that's literally 16, well, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And so this will read a 6 when this is at full value. When this is anything less than 9, this side will be off because the signal just can't reach this guy. I have another signal that runs up and around, and it uses a NOT gate up here in order to invert the signal. So if it gets 1, 2, let's see here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if it's all the way up at 11, it will hit this, which will then put out basically a 256 signal of 0 on around and shut this guy off. So once he's up at 11, I wonder if I can maybe move it a little bit more and maybe get a little bit more out of it, but 11 seems to work all right out of the 15 to give it about 75% when it wants to shut off. And so it keeps me pretty well filled with steam. I do want to enlarge this guy. I want to make it a 5x5 and work with it that way. So I may tackle that sometime in the near future. And then my pyrolyze oven that of course provides the charcoal, giving me right now creosote because I was making some lubricant. Hopefully next video I can build 2 more super tanks in order to get the wood tar and the wood vinegar byproducts out of it a little at a time, so that the wood vinegar for methanol and ethanol. So yeah, that is the base. There's my wall of LV machines that have been keeping me afloat for right now. So yeah, look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Hopefully I can start to tackle some more of these MV quests down here along the way. So we'll see you later. Till then.